Hi, thanks for stopping by this video, however you found us. My name is Scott, and one thing you need to know is I am not a baker, but I do dabble. I'm trying to dabble a little bit in pies this year. And today we're doing something that takes me back to my childhood. See, I grew up back corner of the yard, poisonous leaves, which brings us to rhubarb. That's what I grew up with, straight rhubarb pie. Not too many people I know have ever done that, and I'm not going to do that either because we're going classic with strawberries as well. So today it's strawberry rhubarb pie. We're ready to get started. Earlier today I made pie crust, put it in two disc forms. Took the larger one that's going to be the bottom of the pie. We're just going to roll this out like you do with pie crust. Pretty basic stuff. Of course, the being chilled, it gets a little stiff, but that's okay. We'll just roll this out till it fits in the pan. Got it mostly rolled out, and next we need to make sure it roughly fits the size of the pan. Looks pretty good, but probably needs a little bit more. Also, I'm going to cut some of these edges off. We have a few gaps here. I'm going to cheat a little bit, fill in some of these gaps with pieces from other sections of the crust where it's a little light. Okay, one more double check. I think we got it. And we'll drop this into the pan. It's fitting pretty good. Okay, now that we have that, we'll set it aside and get started on the filling. Ready for the rhubarb. Sorry, I drew a blank there. We're going to cut the stalks. As I mentioned in the opening, I grew up with this stuff, but I did not take any part in cooking it. So this is new to me as part of my baking. A little bit, as I did a little bit of research, kind of some differing opinions what to do, but I'm going to go with the way I think it's best. So we'll just cut this up into probably about 1/2-inch sections. And some of these thicker ones I'm going to just kind of slice in half so that they're a little bit smaller. And then we'll just get them cut up into 1/2-inch sections. Almost done here. This is a little disconcerting if you've never cooked with rhubarb before. It's like celery, and it seems odd to be putting celery in a pie, but I remember it very well growing up, and we had rhubarb like everything. So we'll see how this pie turns out. All about done. Okay, there's a bunch of rhubarb. We'll measure it in a bit, but I'm going to cut up the strawberries next. And now it's strawberry time. We have some really good sized ones and some really small ones. So I'm going to either quarter these or halve them, maybe leave a few whole. I'm setting these three aside for a very special purpose that you'll see in a little bit. But we'll get started cutting. Just about done. I'm going to throw these in the bowl, and we'll talk about these other 4 strawberries. I pulled out 4 just because I think I might need more than what I originally thought. So I am going to try and pretty up this pie a little bit. So what I want is I want a few slices. I have no idea if this will work, by the way, but we're going to give it a go. So I want 4 slices, very thin, and these are going to go on the outside of the pie crust. That's the intention anyways. We'll see if they work. So we'll set those 4. So you got kind of a very traditional strawberry shape, but that's the intention. Looks like I did get 4 out of there. Oops, made a mistake there. So we'll see. There's the other ones. Kind of like the middle ones better. That's what I was thinking, that some of these towards the end would not work how I wanted, so I pulled out a couple extra to see if we could get this in that more traditional, stereotypical strawberry shape. 1 for each slice, essentially, is what we got. Cut these last little bits up, get them in the bowl. And with that, we're ready to put the filling together. Ready to do the filling. Got the oven preheating. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to cook down a little bit of the rhubarb. I measured off 3 cups. It's off on the counter over there, along with 3 cups of strawberries that are going to make up the bulk of the filling. But all the rest of the leftover rhubarb, I am just going to cook down to help the pie come together. I want to add a little bit of liquid to this. This liquid is a tablespoon of orange juice and half a teaspoon of vanilla. A little bit of flavoring in there, so that will help it cook. And also the recipe called for a teaspoon, not tablespoon, be careful of that, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put that in this once it gets cooked down a little bit. And so we'll just cook this down, get to where it becomes more liquid. Okay, we're just about done. Hopefully you can see that on camera. We're got a nice little soupy mix here. I don't know how well it looks, but I'm sure it tastes nice and tart. So the next step, now that we have this cooked down a little bit, most of the recipes I've seen that I've tried, unless I add a little bit extra cornstarch, they come out soupy. So the last thing I'm going to do, because I have cornstarch that's going to go in the bulk of the mix, is I'm just going to add 1 little thing of cornstarch there. Cook this down a little bit more. Let the cornstarch do its thing. Then we're going to take it off the stove and put the rest of the pie together. So give that a little bit of a stir. Get the cornstarch all in there good. And we'll stop. Okay, we have our soup filling mixture cooling down a little bit on the stove. Now we're just going to mix the rest of the pie together. So spoon here. Mix some of this in. That's all going to be coated together. 1/3 cup of sugar, just regular sugar. 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Add a little bit of depth and warmth to it. I'm going to mix this around first before I start adding other stuff. Break up the brown sugar for the most part is what I'm trying to do. Now the other thing I did, I said 1/3 cup, but I tend to find a lot of pies a little bit sweet. So I shaded off just a little bit of those sugars. For the brown sugar, it's at 1/3 cup of packed sugar, but I just didn't pack it, so that's how I did that. And then the regular sugar, I just said, that looks close enough. Then we have some cornstarch to help thicken the filling up. So we'll put that in there, get that stirred around a little bit so everything gets a little bit of cornstarch on it. That was a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Set that off to the side. And now we're going to toss both the strawberries and the rhubarb in this mixture. About 3 cups of strawberries cut into the little slices that we have. Toss that around first. And now about 3 cups of rhubarb as well. And this, get that tossed around a little bit. Try to get everything coated. Okay, so next we're going to just fill the crust. Okay, spread that around a little bit. Should be mixed up pretty good. Last step of the filling, we're going to take our mixture of the cooked down rhubarb and we're just going to fill it in. It's going to kind of fill in some of the gaps that the bigger chunks have, and hopefully make for a more consistent pie. Little dab right in the middle, spread it around, and then we'll roll out the top crust and seal it up and see if this works. Okay, finished rolling it. Check the size once just to make sure it was roughly the size we needed. Now we're going to move that over, but first we of course have to do our egg wash to help seal the 2 crusts. Okay, got that. We'll need that. We'll come back for a little bit there. We'll just set that in. Drag this over. And it does fit pretty well. Picked up a little bit of that crust on the bottom there. That's okay. Take my knife. Cut this off so it's nice and uniform. So we make it look pretty. Okay, got that all done. Slide that out the way a little bit. And now we're just going to fold this in on itself. So now we need to vent it a little bit. There's probably going to be quite a bit of steam on this. So we'll vent this a little bit. Now comes what, well actually, forgot. We got to egg wash this. This time we're going over the top. This one, instead of sealing, give it a nice golden brown look to it. Get the whole top. Okay, now comes my strawberries. I have no idea if this is going to work out, but the idea is we're going to push in a strawberry into each slice of pie. So we got 8 strawberries. Just cause. Okay, so there it is. Pop this thing in the oven for about 20 minutes on 400. And we'll see how it goes. Be right back. Do a little bit of cleanup, check it out in 20 minutes, reduce the temperature, and cook it for a little bit more. It's done. Okay, let's see how we did. Almost fell over there, a little excited. It's been cooking about 40 minutes. I think we're going to be in good shape. Ooh, looking pretty. I don't want to tilt it too much. There's a little bit of butter, but I think that looks pretty good. We'll call that good. Pull it out of the oven. And now comes the hardest part. We gotta wait for it to cool. Probably about 3.5 hours. So I guess that's all we can do. And now it is showtime. We got the pie, cooked for 40 minutes or so, sat out about 3 hours, then about a half an hour, 45 minutes in the refrigerator. And I think it turned out pretty good. I was impressed how the strawberries on top came out. But now comes the real test. We cut into it. Very, very flaky crust, which is kind of cool. So, okay. We have the first piece cut. Not too bad. Set it pretty well. A little bit of juice running out. It's a piece that broke off in there. But set that down. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a little bit of juice running down in there, but not very much at all. Now we're getting ready to taste, but before we do, one more thing. The one thing, ice cream. I hear you can't have rhubarb pie without ice cream. At least that's what everybody on the internet says. So we'll put a little bit of ice cream here. Actually, I'm going to put it off to the side. Set that out of the way. Not a bad looking presentation, but now the test. I'm actually going to take one bite without the ice cream. No, I won't. Change my mind. Put some ice cream in there. Small little bite. A little tricky. That's good. I like that. Very tart, which I like, but we'll see what the other people think. So that's our pie. A little strawberry rhubarb with ice cream. Hope you enjoyed the show.